Yeah, Tuesday night, baby. Let's go. Lots to talk about. Another episode of Whitty Reviews over on the Chateau de Mars Hill Network. Coming to you live at 8 p.m. right now. I know what else you're going to do on a Tuesday night other than spend it here with me talking about all the craziness that's happening in Indiana and Indianapolis. All right, so first things first, if you're not already, make sure you're following us on Facebook. Trying to expand a little bit with Indy Reporter, slowly getting there. It's tough because the videos aren't on the same computer, so we can't put them on Facebook right away as Twitter. But since I run the Facebook account, I have been slacking a little bit. But don't you worry, all that news will show up anyway. Also, hey, we're over 4,000 people right now. Is this not cool? I'm just saying, this is pretty cool. If I have time at the end, I'm going to talk about the future of Indy Reporter and kind of the things that we have in mind. If I have time. If not, we'll talk about it on Saturday and next Tuesday. Also, people are getting fired because no more tax money going to public broadcasting, and then that relates to other things. And, this is just how it is. If you can't sustain yourself without taxpayers, that's a problem. Either you're not putting out a good product or things are just too expensive. Impatient boomer waiting. Hey, we're live, baby. We're live, D2 Indy. Let's go. I think that's it, right? I think that's it. Yeah, then that's it. Okay. So pretty much what we're going to be talking about tonight are a couple of things. I'm going to be talking about Braun's new appointee, how I think he was appointed, the connections to other things, very important, by the way. And then this thing about Diego that just makes you go, And then how our taxpaying dollars are being wasted on the IADC, plus like a little bit of a rabbit hole / into the weeds on just how corrupt things really are. But first things first, yesterday, Braun appointed the new state entrepreneurship director. It's like the Office of Entrepreneurship and Innovation, with a focus on supporting Hoosiers launching the next generation of Main Street businesses, which, listen, I was watching the committee meetings, and this is going to be geared to venture capitalists, not really to the mom and pop places that are doing even though he does have an HVAC company, but like candle people, mechanic shops. So this is going to be geared to our tax-paying dollars going into businesses and feeding up their startup, basically. And let's see. So I kind of already I got a whole report on them already, and I screenshotted a lot of stuff, and we're going to talk about some of the things because this is very funny. If you guys weren't paying attention to Indy Reporter earlier today, we had posted, in the last 24 hours, found Braun's new appointee is not a Trump guy, basically. He's not a Trump guy, but yet Braun is very Trump. And I also found something else with the program director for the Office of Energy Development, that the guy's wife is like this climate bitch and pushing hard for utility solar. I'll probably talk about that. Let's go. I'll probably talk about that next Tuesday once I get a little more details. But anyway, all right. So the guy's name is Brian Schutt, and if you check, there were a couple of articles about him. The main one is that him and a couple of buddies started Refinery 46. Oh, which, by the way, is the funniest thing. Not to get too crazy, but do you remember Subspace? Remember that like poly joint where there's drag shows and we don't allegedly they're all going banana and donut. Basically, the whole floor is full of. So it's very sticky in there, I'm sure, very messy. Well, the place that Refinery 46 is literally 0.2 miles from that joint. Not saying that they're connected at all. I don't know if Sherfick might have helped build the Refinery 46. I don't know. I'm just saying it's very, very weird. That's all. And whether you want to admit it or not, it does make you go, maybe I'll just start off like a whole new video segment where things make you go, very weird, very weird. So the next thing up about this guy, there's a few things. He owns a couple of businesses. Which one is that? Oh, yeah. We're going to get into that. All right. So decided to go into InBiz, and it is our new tool that we're using, even though it's completely public for everybody. Go for it and use it. As you can see, he in the article, he talks about how he owns HomeSense Heating Cooling. Funny enough, it looks like the Refinery 46, that's where it's actually based out of. And I had this thought that maybe he's using this as like a tax write-off for him and his buddies that own these businesses, of saying like, hey, I pay rent at this joint, and then we also have this joint that they own all together, and so they can be like basically a net neutral. Just a thought. I don't know. Hey, I'm all about trying to not pay taxes at all. I just hope that people are honest about it. Here's another one, though. Simplify Media. Actually, you can see that is in the same building. Oh, yeah. So if you look at the address, East 46th Street, Suite 200 for Annex 46, HomeSense and Payosa, whatever that is, and then Simplify Media, and then Vested Interest. This is one that we're going to be keeping an eye on, because I think this might be a venture capitalist company from Brian Schutt. Can't find anything on it, to be honest with you. Crap. Whatever. That's fine. We'll get to that here in a second. All right. So these are all the businesses that go on there. I don't know if I still have. Oh, I do still have it. Boom. Right there, baby. Right there. These are all the businesses that they have on the banner. Not exactly sure if any of them are related yet. Like I said, we're like in the beginning of the investigation here on any of this stuff. Nothing crazy is happening. In fact, I contacted somebody that's in the area and asked them if they knew anything about it. And apparently the guy is like super religious. The Brian is super religious. And even like the hardcore lefties are like, hey, you know what? Well, maybe not hardcore lefties, but definitely lefty. But like a Christian lefty, if that even makes any sense, liked the guy. I don't trust them, and here's the reason why. What have I said since day one? Never trust anybody with a vest, ever. If you wear a vest, you're off the trust chart. I'm sorry, all of you out there. If I see you wearing a vest, I'm just going to go gross, not cool, and you're going to be into like the out of circle of the trust circle. You're going to go into the next eccentric circle to it. So got that. Here's the funniest part. Now he does have a Twitter. I didn't really check his Facebook, but if you search his name, which is right there, and Trump, not a Trump guy, right here. And he says, where was it? Oh, yeah. A positive about Trump. He's such a clown. He'll distract from other candidates' clownishness and make the field look that much more serious. He's talking about back in 2015 when Trump first started running. And then he calls let's do this, people. Never Trump. And if you click on the article, Indy Star back in 2016 talked about Ted Cruz leads to Donald Trump in Indiana. So obviously not a Trump guy. He's a Ted Cruz guy. And on here, it's mostly just talking about if only someone could have predicted what a Trump candidacy would look like. If only. National Review against Trump. So this was right before the election between him and Hillary. Trump standing behind Clinton. I mean, basically not a Trump guy. And there's the reason I say it is because, Ted Cruz was a Trump guy. Cruz is also a rhino, so I don't care. He doesn't even use his real name. Fuck that guy. So the funny thing is, and why I'm pointing this out, is because, remember, Braun is a huge Trump guy. And this is where I have said many times, I don't know what Braun is doing with his vetting. And this guy does seem to not care that he is hard against Trump. So the question is, Does Braun know what he's doing, or is he a? Hey, Brad, do you think we should put a poll out tomorrow of Braun? Does Braun know what he is doing, or is he actually a Bond villain? That's what I want to know. The poll tomorrow will be: does Braun know what he's doing, or is he actually a Bond villain? Also, supporting Danny Lopez. And Danny Lopez is a huge Rhino, Holcomb guy as usual, all about protecting the shield, all about kissing the boot. And I know that he, obviously it's going to be, well, I'm not for McNally, so I have to be with Lopez. Funny enough, you don't have to be for either of them. That's the great thing about voting. If you don't like either of them, you don't have to vote for either of them. Easy peasy. And here's where I think he's making fun of Braun, too, of February of last year. When Mike Braun posted on here, it's official. Today I filed to be your next governor, and I'm humbled by the groundswell of grassroots support from Hoosiers in all 92 counties. Hoosiers are ready to make Indiana a beacon for freedom opportunity. And what does he put out here? There are dozens of us. Dozens! Which is what? Making fun of Mike Braun right here. So not only did Braun appoint like a never Trumper, but he also appointed a guy who was making fun of him when he ran for governor, when he was running for governor. What do we got here? We got Mike Speedy. What else we got here? Can't really tell. Hold on, let's see if I can tell. Who else is in the picture here? Who's shoddy right here? That's what oh, you can't see it. Hold on. Who's shoddy right here? That's what I want to know. Whoops, right there. Who else we got? Can I see anything? No, I can't see anything. All right. Well, whatever. And the question I was asking, all right, well, he's obviously not a Braun guy. So who else would that make him? Probably a Chambers guy, which, oh, by the way, yeah, this is how the flip happens, by the way. So he talks crap about Braun February 2024, and then March of this year, he posts, as he's turning 13 this Friday, Parker joined me for the Indiana Leadership Prayer Breakfast. Mike Pence, Braun for Indiana, and O.S. Guinness were all very gracious, whoever that is. But then this is where I think he was actually a Chambers guy. Indeed, it starts with parents. Encouraged by Secretary Chambers that plan that starts towards some public action on this. Chambers for Indiana. And then he retweets it. Well, this is where I'm saying happy birthday. Yeah. I'm surprised. It's so funny. I'm surprised Kendall didn't say anything about Gabe's birthday today. It would have been so funny. He's like, hey, Gabe, happy birthday from the poop pushing house. Hope your asshole isn't too inflamed. But anyway, this is where I'm thinking that Brian Schutt is actually a Chambers guy. He's like encouraged by Secretary Chambers' plan that starts towards some public action on this. It's not kids with the cell phone problem; it's parents. So obviously, he was kind of on the Chambers side. All right, so who is Brian Schutt, and what's his LinkedIn like? Well, this picture I think was actually taken in like 2019 or something. So he really needs to update his picture. He's doing the Jim Lucas thing where he hasn't updated his picture in forever. And he's kind of catfishing people. That's all I'm saying. It seems like a little bit of catfishing. Funny enough about this building, when I was staking out that Pauly Jizz place, I came off of Keystone. I'm like, oh, look, there's a bar over here. I should go and check out that bar. It's called Black Circle. Actually, do they have a website? Oh, it's a brewery, huh? Black Circle. Let's see here. Music, Our Home at Refinery 46. Damn, Lucifer. Oh, wow. Okay. So it's a satanic bar. Lucifer at Black Circle. Conan at Black Circle. Oh, that's cool. Well, turns out that I'm not going after all. Branding, huh? What do we got for branding? Loom. The Loom logo flyers, huh? Made with Squarespace. Food partners. Huh. I don't know. Maybe I'll go anyway. We got some merch. What is this going on here? What the crap is going on here? All right, what do we got here? Crystal Lake 317 show presents Orthodox. Orthodox. Oh, Corporate. Oh. All right, enough of that crap. All right, so anyway, Brian Shute, not a whole lot here. He's part of the steering committee for the, let's see here. Hold on. I'll go back a little bit. Simplify Marketing. Hoosier board member of the Hoosier Congressional Policy Leadership Series. Not much there. It's not until you get a little bit later into, I was like, Purdue University, maybe, but he wasn't there. He was only there for 5 months. Oh, he's part of the steering committee member. Oh, he's a steering committee member for the Indiana Leadership Prayer Breakfast, which, by the way, I did not know is actually, I think it's a nonprofit. Hold on, let me see. Indiana Prayer. Is that what it is? Indiana Leadership Prayer. I'm pretty sure when I was looking this up, it's a nonprofit. Yep, it's a nonprofit. All right. There we go. But that's not the one that really kicked it off. It was the board member of Orr Fellowship. Now, Orr Fellowship. Now, that's going to be Indy Spanglish in the house. Let's go. Yeah, it was really Orr Fellowship is where everything started going through the weeds because he's a board member of there. Now, if you go to Orr Fellowship, it says developing the next generation of business leaders and entrepreneurs. I haven't really gone through their LinkedIn ID or LinkedIn. It's not too much, but it is, however, a 990. It's a nonprofit. And you look at the president making $131,000 back in 2023. We find out who this guy is, Stephen Emk. Check out his LinkedIn. And what do you know? He used to work for the IADC. So there's our first connection point. All right. That's our first connection point to the IADC or anything to do with the state. Manager for the entrepreneurship programming, director for venture development. Now, what does that mean? Director of venture development role. I lead the connectedness of the venture capital ecosystem. That's weird. Didn't I say that during the committee meetings, that new department, that new office is going to be used for venture capitalism? That's weird. And then what does OR do again? If I could find it. Okay, so they provide a unique opportunity for undergraduate students searching for the first salary full-time position following graduation. Okay, that's cool. Not too bad. I want to go into what their description is. Recruits and develops the next generation of business leaders and entrepreneurs. That's interesting because that seems really different than what their LinkedIn compared to their 990 is saying. All right, but whatever. All right, he's part of the IADC. That's his first connection. Let's look into partners. Who are they partnering up with? That's what I want to know. This is when I knew I was onto something. ARI, Applied Research Institute. Now, it is really hard to explain of how important this little nugget is because Applied Research Institute is owned by David Roberts. Now, David Roberts, Chad Pittman, and Paul Mitchell are basically these three guys that all combined together. They had like $140 million of no bid contracts. And I actually looked into, I had gotten an email about it. And so I looked into it. And that's what it was. It actually, they showed me it was like $143 million, but some of the contracts I couldn't find. So I just said, 100. Besides, they're like 350,000 combined. It would be like 142 million. But I would say, 140, nice even number, good enough to set the point that there's $140 million of no bid contracts, and one of them was from Applied Research Institute. Now, so I would have to make a long video to explain all this, and your eyes would be glazed over because I have spent many hours on researching all of this and just the different connection points of all of it. Now, ARI, they build partnerships and connects resources across America's technology ecosystem. The same marketing bullshit that you always hear from these tech companies. Now, David Roberts who is the CEO of Applied Research Institute, recently became the honorary consul of Belgium and Indiana. Very interesting, right? Because who else just recently became an honorary consul but of Hungary? Diego's wife, am I right? That's all I'm saying. It's weird that we're just throwing all these honorary consuls like Sagamore Awards to random people in Indiana. That's all I'm saying. It's very weird when you have these people getting an honorary consul for different countries. I just found this out like 10 minutes before the show went off. And I have to do some more research on it. I'm going to have to go dig. I'm going to have to dig deep. Not tonight. I am very tired. Like this show will be like exhausting the rest of my energy that I have for the day. But here we go. Applied Research Institute that, as you can see, one of the governing persons is David Roberts right there. And if you go into that address, 2719 East 10th Street in Bloomington, you go that it's the IU Innovation Center. I mean, I tried putting like, as you can, oh, okay. So this is from 2023. I mean, it looks like a black site, basically. It looks like a CIA black site. It's the IU Innovation Center, apparently. Obviously don't trust it. And if you go into the, okay, so that was the Indiana Leadership Prayer Breakfast. I wonder who runs this thing, actually. Hey, we're already here. Hey, we're already here. Why not? Let's see, who runs it? Nobody? Name of organization. Okay. Wow. Okay. So remember. So just Matt Barnes. Why does that name sound familiar? Peggy Welch, Debbie Magnuson. I don't know. Very weird. Interesting. All I'm saying is that when you tie in that he's on the Orr Fellowship, on the board of that, and the guy who is in charge of that nonprofit used to work for the IADC, and then you find out that one of the partners for Orr Fellowship is a Applied Research Institute. Those two things connecting are like peanut butter and jelly. They just go perfect, like stink on shit, basically. One, you can't have one without the other. All right, so let's get into the Diego. Now, I didn't want to open up a bunch of tabs for this because I just made a whole. This is how I'm doing it, actually. I'm just doing a Google sheet and just doing screenshots and putting the links to everything. All right, so somebody had messaged us over to us about Diego and it said, hey, have you ever checked out his ethics disclosure reports? I go, no, but I'm not sure why I never have. Now, some of you are going to get mad and say, oh my God, you're doxing him. But I'm going to go with this is public information anyway. Literally anybody can find it. It's on the website that the Secretary of State runs. So if you go onto his ethics disclosure reports, you see aiming higher services, and at the address is 5725 Roxbury Court. Now, I feel like an a-hole right now doing this, but I have to set the point. Now, if you go on to Diego's campaign information, that's his address. But here's the deal. If you go to InBiz and you type in aiming higher services, it actually goes to a different address in Sellersburg, Indiana. Now, if you put that address into the property card for whatever county it is, I forgot what it was, but for Sellersburg, it goes to a Juan and Dolores Morales. I don't know who these people are, by the way. I just thought it was really weird. So it got me wondering, well, crap, you can put the address in there. We got a new one. That's pretty awesome. Not gonna lie, that made me LOL. But if you type in Diego's actual address into InBiz, you come up with a nonprofit of Diego for Indiana. Goes to his address because Diego's real name is Cesar Diego Mayales. And I should have looked up. You know what? I should have looked that up. Let's do that right now. Cesar Morales. Let's look that up. Let's start that up right now. We'll go to registered agent. Let's do Morales. Okay, so then there's only a Julio C. Morales and that's really interesting. All right, so let's do this one. Cesar Morales. Right here. Oh. Diego for that one. aiming higher services right there. And the reason why I kind of bring this up too, if you look up, we'll just do it right here. Aiming higher services right here under Cesar Morales. It shows Cesar D. Morales, Cesar Diego Morales. There you go. Now, I don't know if this really means anything. It does seem rather fake, though. It does like add this layer of what the hell is actually going on right now with Diego. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. We could look up Diego real quick. We got plenty of time. CAPTCHA. Damn you, CAPTCHA. Venture Staffing is the only one that Diego's name goes there, because so Cesar Diego Morales. Isn't it really interesting though that if you type in Cesar Morales, this doesn't show up? Like here. This is why you have to be careful. Why making sure when you're doing research, I'm kind of telling on myself right now. Okay, it is there. Venture Staffing. For Leonardo Perez. I'm just saying, it's very weird. Also, when I went to the guy's LinkedIn, Brian's, there was a Seth Morales who owns a staffing company too. I don't know. Hey, I don't know. I just thought that was another Anyway, we don't know exactly what's going on here. Well, you know what? I haven't heard Jerry's Diego impression. We should have a Diego off, is what we should have. Indy Spanglish versus Whitty. And who does a better Diego Morales impression? That'd be so much fun. We'd probably get in a lot of trouble. But you know what? I'm part Hispanic and he's Cuban. I wouldn't say part Cuban. He's Cuban. What am I even saying? He's not part Cuban. He's Cuban. Right, Jerry? Would that not be the funniest thing? Rob said he couldn't do it. He said he wasn't allowed to. That they were worried that he was going to get in trouble. But I don't have to worry about that. I'm 20%, baby. All right, let's get into some real talk now. All right, let's have a little bit more low note doomer pilling stuff. Yeah, I would probably get in trouble. I get in trouble when somebody slips on a banana peel. Everybody's just gonna blame me, and that's fine. I'll take it. I'm okay with taking it. All right. So, all of you guys remember this tweet from Indy Reporter. While your property taxes were going up, the IADC was focused on sponsoring an award show. The IADC gave the money to the CICP, to the Mirror Awards. Tech Point calls it the Oscar for. No, D2 Indy's a base boomer. Tech Point operates under the umbrella of CICP, supported, funded, and governed through that organization. That actually says it on the website. If it'll show up right there. Bam. So let's look into. Okay. This is where everything starts to get doomer pilled right now, and it is true. I found this by accident. I was actually looking for something else, and I was like, "What is this all about?" All right, so CICP is the Central Indiana Corporate Partnership Incorporated. They are basically like a gateway of, they are the umbrella of like 5 different things, which is 5 different things: AgriNovus, Ascend, BioCrossroads, Connexus, and Tech Point. So imagine that IADC is giving CICP a bunch of money, and then CICP spreads it out to their 5 little babies. So imagine that you got this pimp, right? And he's saying, listen, ladies, I'm going to help you out, all right? Where my 5 main bitches at, huh? Where my bottom bitch at? And he says, you know what? I got this money coming my way, but don't you worry, ladies. I'm going to give it your way. I got to keep you clean. I got to keep you clean and freshed up because I got to make sure that I'm turning a profit over that sweet, sweet booty. And that's what CICP is. They are the pimp. And then these 5 organizations right here are their hoes. I mean, I think that is the best analogy I can come up with on the fly. I just came up with it. All right. So back in 2022, this was what it was. CICP honors the best of Indiana, winning a Mirror Awards, attracts new customers, and blah, blah, blah. All right, so This was to sponsor it. Yeah, by sponsoring the event right here, $5,000. And I know you're all thinking, Whitty, it's $5,000. Listen, I spend more of that going to the casino and maybe getting a bit loosey with the goosey. All right, well, okay, now we got 2023. Same thing. They sponsored it. Got a bunch of tickets, got some VIP parking for $25,000. Huh. Okay. And then let's flash forward to 2024, where all of a sudden your taxpayer dollars is giving $100,000 to sponsor the Mirror Awards, which is basically where all these GDP bros, all these tech bros are going and they're giving each other a hug box. They're getting handshakes and hand jobs. It's basically a giant circle jerk of telling each other, hey, you know what? Look how great we are with our tax money, by the way. Right here, the Mirror Awards. What year was this? In 2024. And it is a 6-month program that culminates with our signature ball gown and black tie gala that has come to be known as the Oscars for Tech in Indiana. It's a tremendous platform for celebrating our state's tech success, as well as coming together as a community, highlighting what's important to us and sharing our vision for the future. Yeah, it's bullshit is what it is. It's a bunch of GDP bros, bunch of tech bros, a bunch of jerk-offs, basically, giving each other awards funded by us. Thank you very much. But no, thank you very much. Those are the 5 ones right there. Agronauts, Ascend, BioCrossroads, Connexus, and TechPoint. TechPoint seems to be like the main one, though. All right, so... Oh, this is what I wanted to point out. I've been trying to... in these contracts... Now, I'm not a contract guy at all. I go with a spit in the hand and a handshake and then a little twirl, and then we agree on terms. I don't know. Maybe I'm just old. Maybe I'm just old school. But I'm always looking at, all right, who approved this money? Who approved $100,000 of our money to sponsor this bullshit show? Well, it was Robert Paglia, then the state budget agency, looks like Zachary Q. Jackson, or it was Jonathan Eccles on behalf of Zachary Q. All right, so who's this guy? We got to find out who this guy is. He's going to be on my shit list. That's what he's going to be. What's his name? Jackson Eccles. Oh, wait a minute. That's not IADC. State budget. SBA, baby. How about Indiana? I'm not sure if I even spelled it right. Jonathan Jackson, Samsonite. All right, there we go. Fiscal analyst for the state of Indiana. All right, here we go. Okay, all right, so then he had the Free Methodist World Missions. All right, and then he was a teacher. All right, so you go from a teacher to a ministry deployment coordinator to now you're a division director and a fiscal analyst for the state of Indiana. I don't know how you got your job. Who do you know? For real, who do you know? I don't like it. I don't like it. Come work with me at the state budget. No, I don't like it. Oh, here we go. IDC retweet. National Ag Day. Oh, yeah. See, all right. I'm already don't like it. I already don't like this guy. I don't like him. Fire him. Get him out of here. Fire him. I can't do it. How much is he making right now? That's what I want to know. We got to find out how much he's making. We're going to find out right now. Boom. Jonathan Eccles, you're on my radar, man. Gov salaries right here. Biggity boom. Bam, 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 boom. Indiana. 2024, 74,000. All right, whatever. Okay, whatever. Don't care. You probably got invited anyway. All right, so Robert Paglia, who's making like, hey, you guys want to get really pissed off at this right now? Robert Paglia was the one that approved that contract. Yeah, we got plenty of time. In 2020, he was making $159,000. Guess how much he's making in 2024? Any takers? Okay, so 159,000, and then into 2024, he's now making $215,000. Over a $50,000 raise in 4 years. While we're all struggling to pay property taxes, while we're all getting taxed the shit off from the gas tax, while we're all going to have to pay for tolls, this guy got a $50,000 raise within 4 years. Fire all of them, dismantle the IEDC brick by brick. I do not care. Set it on fire for all I care. Unbelievable. Yeah, deport him. Yeah, deport Paglia. Sorry, bud. Sorry, Piglia. Get the fuck out. Get out of here. Deport by catapult. All right, so this is another way of doing it too. So I found out, you can't see it right now. Maybe I can. Let me all right, so there was the Indy Innovation Challenge, doing business as the Indy Autonomous Challenge. Now, there were 2 contracts, one in 24, one in 25. The one this year in 25 was $2.8 million. The one in 24 was, I think, 2.2. Yeah, 2.2. So you got $5 million right off of that. Well, it goes a little bit deeper. Now, this is how things get really, really interesting and why it's going to be really, really tough to find some of this. But don't you worry. Your pal Whitty is on the case as usual. All right, so this is what I found. So that's 2.8 as you see, 2.2 right there. Here's something funny. What did we talk about? CICP, Central Indiana Corporate Partnership. Guess what they did? They funneled, the IADC funneled money into the CICP as a grant fund shall be used for the Indy Autonomous Challenge opportunity project for $1.6 million. Is that just not the craziest thing ever? This is like another layer, I think, of corruption. And guess who approved it, boys? Who is that? Who is that? Huh? Who is that? Robert Paglia? That's so weird. That's so weird. But I was back in 21. Who's this? That's the Attorney General's office approval. Wait, why is that's the fiscal analyst there for representative. Budget agency. All right, who's Heidi Bobolowski? Is that what her name is? Heidi Bob Kowalski. We gotta find her. Hey, wow, that was easy. CFO of the year for IBJ. What a ride it's been, huh? All right, who are we talking about? The CFO for the IEDC, but now it's the CFO for Early Learning Indiana. What is this? Power with skills to thrive in kindergarten and beyond. This sounds sketchy. Hold on, who approved it in 25? 24, 25. Was that it? 2.8, 24, 25. 24, 25. Interesting. Was there an amendment? Did I pick on the right one? 25. Yeah, 24. The new contract. Very weird, right? Yeah, both by Heidi. To ensure children throughout India are empowered with essential skills to thrive in kindergarten and beyond. Who are they? Who are you? Maureen Weber, Aaron Kiesling, Jonathan Dilly, Tony Phelps, Heidi Bobakoski. Huh, that's so weird. Anyway, I can't look into it right now. But this is what I'm saying. There's just another layer of having to go through these contracts so you don't know where they're spending our money through, which route they're taking. That's why all of this has been so difficult, following all of this stuff, because when you're all of a sudden you find one contract, you start looking to see where that contract came from or what's in it and who's getting the money. Then you're by the time you're even scratching it, you're 3 hours into the rabbit hole just on that one thing. That's why I'm going to have to build a graphic on how crazy some of this money is being spent. I already did that one. Did that one. Okay. Boom. Okay, did that one. All right, I got 10 minutes right now. All right, cool. I think that's all I was going to really talk about. I mean, if you want to talk about something really crazy, um, hey, want to see something really crazy? Carrie Aubrey. So Carrie Aubrey is the program director for the Indiana Office of Energy and Development. Now, he started there back in 2013. This is where things get kind of funny, though. And I had to make sure that I had the right guy. So Carrie Aubrey was promoted to program manager for the bioengineering development. What does that say right there? Program manager for, where is it? Aubrey previously served as biofuels programs administrator and successfully worked with fuel retailers across the state to install E85 and B20 biofuel pumps. This is what's so funny. The E85 thing was such a scam. It was like, hey, you know what? There's a different way that we can produce fuel. It could be through corn oil. Man, what a psyop that was. Anyway, so Carrie Aubrey is the one of the owners of Aubrey Cattle Company. Now, his wife, who's like Sarah Aubrey, I think. Crap, what is it? Aubrey Cattle Farm. Aubrey Cattle Farm. I think that's it. Aubrey's Cattle Company. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Yeah, there we go. Bam, right there. So the wife, this chick, Sarah Beth Aubrey, runs like some climate deal with agriculture. I have, and you're like 40 and you're using Snapchat filters. That's embarrassing. If you're like old, I mean, if really in general, you should never be using Snapchat filters. But anyway, she's very pro on the utility solar. It's a little bit concerning when you have a program manager that's been in there for over a decade and your wife is pushing utility solar like crazy. It's something that we should all be worried about, which begs the question, can't Braun fire these people? So for researchers, women fighting cancer, not that one. Shout out to women in sustainability. She's very pro renewables. Yeah, women in sustainability are changing the world one field at a time. Join us. This is what I don't understand too. Isn't like the bread and butter of all these climate people cow farts? So like you are against cow farts, but you own a cow/cattle ranch. I don't know. I'm just saying. It seems very weird to me. But that'll be for another day. Probably next week I'll talk about it. All right, so let's talk about Indy Reporter real quick and what the future holds and kind of what our plan is right now. Now, you saw... that's funny. Now, we have been slowly going up in followers, which has been awesome. I mean, really, in general, we couldn't have done it without Rob and Casey, mostly Rob, retweeting our stuff, Indy Spanglish, even Hammer and Nigel has retweeted our stuff, like just getting the message across and what we're posting on there. And all of you, obviously, that watch me, that follow Indy Reporter and talk about it with all your friends. And so we've been getting quite a few messages lately, and even like commenting on Twitter about, hey, I'd love to donate to you. How can I help you out? How can I, help you out with blank? Or even today's like, how do I buy you a coffee? Yeah, thank you, viewers. Obviously, yeah, for sure. And it was like, well, if anybody's ever ran for office, you know how weird it is taking money from strangers. Like we do that. And it was so funny because I saw Abdul. Abdul is obviously very worried. I imagine that he's probably getting questioned by all his buddies of like, hey, do you know who this Indy Reporter guy is? Hey, do you know this guy's really taken off? And then they're like probably making fun of him. It's like, hey, you remember when you used to be like that before you got compromised and now you're just corrupt and you're an establishment shill now and you're just protecting everybody else so you can get invited to the parties? I imagine it's probably something like that because the last couple of days, well, you saw the comment that he made and saying, oh, well, if you had a good product, you just sell it. No, we do this for fun. That's the truth. We do this for fun. We do this because the truth being out. Because my opinion, and most of our opinion is, once you start accepting money from people, then you start to get a little bit compromised, and you start shifting your priorities to what people are giving you money for. And I'm sure, joints. No, Brad. No. I'm sure that when you start getting information from other people, that you're going to try and set the narrative. And a perfect example of that was when John ran for county chair. He went after John harder than he went after Hogsett. Even now, and because you even saw him like, hey, well, you know what? I don't think Hogsett should resign. And even then, even before that, he said, hey, you know what? I'm part of the establishment. I'm proud of it. Or he's like, when I get old, the older that I get, the more liberal I get. Which tells you what? He's insecure. He wants to be part of the regime, the part of the establishment, and get invited to all the parties. He wants to have all the scoops. Just remember his scoop when Diego was supposed to get indicted last winter. Never happened. And then he wrote this article, on his cheat sheet, he wrote on there's like, you know what? There's 4 people that might resign this year. Listen, nobody is resigning, okay? Hogsett's going to be there forever. You even told him that that he shouldn't resign. And look at this right here. Biggity bam. If you want any reason why Hogsett will never resign, he's got GOP help. He's got the party's help. Hogsett has so many connections and is so powerful that he doesn't have to worry about anything. So that's what makes us different. We don't do this to survive. We don't do this to pay the bills. We do. Oh, really? I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure he'll get right on that. But some of the stuff that we post is gets a little bit too into the weeds, and it sounds a little bit too schizo. So we're trying to put things out there so the average person can understand it. Understand, hey, you know what? Spent $900,000 on a sponsorship for the Colts. What the crap is that all about? And then Irsay gave $25,000 to Hogsett. Nobody talks about how much money the Simons give to Mears. That kind of stuff. That's the kind of stuff that people are wanting to know, especially when they're making either a voting decision or when they're asking themselves, where's all this money going? Which is what we just explained to you right now. Or I explained to you and on the Indy Reporter was, where's all our money going? Well, it's going to all this bullshit stuff that's not helping us at all. It's just helping out the tech bros and the GDP bros, all the billionaires. That's who it's helping. Is it helping us? No. In fact, we keep getting screwed over more. And we're here to expose all of it. We're here to expose the connections of how we got here. What's going through contracts, whether it's going through campaign reports, whether it's just making an opinion or, hey, you know what? Maybe we should start paying attention to this crap. Whether it's data centers, SMRs. You notice how people are starting to turn on the SMR thing, like, maybe they're not that great. Hey, maybe we should start questioning an unproven technology. When you start asking questions, the narrative shift has been very fascinating the last few months. And I'm not saying that we're part of that. I think, between us and Kendall and other people, they're really starting to make people change their mind because they're seeing the truth. And that's what we're all about. That's what I had posted. I personally posted that on Indy Reporter a few nights ago, was we are loyal to the people and we are loyal to the truth. Besides that, that's all that matters. And that's all we really care about. So the reason why I'm bringing all this up was after we started getting all these, a couple of messages, more than a couple, but very specific. Hey, I want to give you money. And other people just asking about donating. Was if we get to 5,000 followers, we will open up a Patreon where people can donate. And I can promise you this right now. All that money will go into basically gas money for yours truly, because I'm doing most of the dash cam footage. It will go into a gimbal. It will go into different equipment for recording stuff. I'd really love to find a way to have maybe even buy a server where I can store everything. You know, one of the goals that I have too is here. I'll show you right here, since I'm not afraid to show you everything. All my stuff that I record is on Google Sheets. And what I'd love to do is just make it open to everybody. Hey, I wonder what Indy Reporter's up to right now. And then you'll see a Google Sheet of this person. It's being updated in real time. You know, that kind of stuff. Because if you guys didn't notice, Sidonia Nicole, Diego's wife, deleted V24 off of her LinkedIn a couple of days after I had made that video about V24, the staffing company, which tells me she's either trying to hide something or she's embarrassed. It's one of the two. But that's kind of like the future that we're going with, and obviously expanding everything. I think I'm going to start doing more videos too, kind of like how I did with the CICP. There's a thing called Make My Move, which it kind of goes into the conspiracy realm of you're bringing in all these people of outside of the state who aren't Hoosiers. They're just there. And you're using taxpayer money to do it. But it's Noblesville or South Bend and all these different joints. I have the whole, I think I have, Make My Move right here. Yeah, you know, basically over $7 million, because these are matching grants. So $7 million, over $7 million of our money to bring in people that don't live in the state into the state. And even in one part of one of these, I forgot which one it was, I think it was Northeast, there were like 45 or 40 of them were brick and mortar jobs. Like, okay, so we're not bringing in like high paying people. We're bringing in cheap labor, basically. So, Kiff in the house, let's go. Yeah, so that's really where we're at. Producer John, get ready. So that's kind of where we're at. On Saturday night, we're going to talk more. Oh, yeah, so Saturday night, I'm going to talk about a few things with, I'm going to go dive deeper into that everybody losing their job thing. And listen, I'm empathetic on people losing their job, especially when you have a family and now you're trying to figure a way out to pay the bills. But at the same time, you guys really fucked us over during COVID. That's the truth. So as much empathy as I have for you guys losing your job, you guys set this narrative of fear mongering. So fuck off, basically. All right, that's it. Oh, yeah, also one more thing. Saturday night, I will be live streaming through Indy Reporter in downtown. So the plan is I will do an 8 to 10 show, and then I'm going to head to downtown, park over there, and just walk around in basically around this, not around the circle, but not even like less than Mile Square. And I'm either going to live stream it or I'm going to take videos and post it on Indy Reporter and I'm only going to be there for an hour because I do not want to be there at all. I personally don't want to be there, but I think that the videos that people will understand of why nobody wants to go downtown. It's full of bums, basically. full of bums, full of idiots. I'll make sure that I park somewhere where I'll be okay. All right. Love you guys. Bye.